Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I was going to go into detail about how to practice Luciferianism or something like that, satanic elements, and how ritual works. So, first of all, most important thing to keep in mind is that ritual is simply a dramatization. It's a intentional created drama to create an effect. And as I mentioned before, the reason for this is because the subconscious mind recognizes the processes going on more readily than the conscious mind does. The conscious mind almost gets confused by what's going on and it will try to doubt and question what's happening. But the subconscious mind, through your will, does not doubt what's happening. Now, this is the reasoning for some people dressing in ridiculous looking garments or masks, things like that, or even wearing paint or going naked or using all sorts of symbols and chants and doing them in certain weird ways and doing certain actions in the ritual that might look ridiculous to you, holding wands up and knives and things like that, just waving them randomly in the air and then putting them down. It might look like it's not significant in any way to the process of magic, but in fact it can be the ultimate deciding factor of your results. The importance of magic here with ritual, if you choose to do ritual, I recommend practicing some sort of ritual work at one point or another in your practice, unless you're really having trouble visualizing your willpower. Then I would recommend researching visualization techniques first before practicing any ritual. But the importance of ritual in magic is simply the feeling it brings. A lot of people who are in a lot of mystery schools they won't tell you much of anything, but they'll tell you that nothing beats being there in the temple or wherever they're at and actually experiencing it. And the reason for this is the stimuli created, the response created by your mind and body in that process of what you're doing. So you can do ritual on your own. That's what I prefer to do myself. I mean, I'm not part of a coven. I never have been. I've never been in any area where I can really be a part of the Luciferian group or coven. I've always been self-initiate. So, for me, ritual has always been something that is simply, it's been needed for me personally. It's been something that is just indescribably stimulating and exhilarating. The thing is, ritual is important to me personally because it's simply so stimulating and exhilarating that it creates a desired effect for me personally. It's the symbology. Sometimes I'll play like really loud industrial music a lot of the time after or before ritual or in between aspects of my ritual. I will do that and sort of just be everywhere, just forcing my body to work to the music and just creating that state of mind, that energy, acceleration in the room with me. Now, the process of ritual has been used for several thousand years. Rituals have existed since man has existed, I will say that. There's just no denying that. Man has always had some sort of ritual in some form in every culture. In fact, everything you do on a daily basis can be seen as very ritualistic behavior. Ritualistic behavior can be defined as, say, doing the same process of preparing to go to work each day. That's a type of ritual in a way, because it's preparing your state of mind to act in accordance with what you're preparing for. If you go to a specific place to eat each day, or on a specific day of the week, then it's seen as a ritual too in a way, because it's the same. There's something staying stationary with the process of you going forth to act on that will, that action, that need, that desire, whatever it is. That's what you're acting on whenever you do something ritualistic. So preparing for work in a way is a type of ritual, because you're preparing your mind and body for what you need to go out and act and do. You're telling your mind, hey, snap out of your lazy shit you need to do this. You need to prepare for this because it's important and vital, and if you don't, you won't get a paycheck. Think of it that way. Or like preparing for school and needing to study. You put on the attire, you get dressed, you get clean, you get everything. You go to school, and you are prepared for it. And if you don't prepare for it, you just go. A lot of the time, you'll still notice that you still feel the same way you did when you woke up. You haven't prepared your mind or body in any way to get ready or tell it, hey, you need to do this. You haven't created a stimulus to cause that change. So with actual magical ritual, it's much of the same way. People wear garments or even go nude a lot of the time when they want to, simply because it's either it's their way of simply being, representing what it is they're doing. And I think in a way, whenever people do nudism and they go nude in a ritual, then to me, I think that's almost like symbolically removing that which you would normally be, and in a way it's just leaving you with yourself, and in a way that can be very useful in a way for magical practice. And a lot of people may laugh, they're like, oh, why the fuck would you want to be chanting and doing shit naked? I mean, it's so awkward sounding. Well, to some people it's not. To some people it's just they're being stripped to the bone, almost, to their flesh, of what they really are, and they're not letting their clothing distract them in any way. This is also why robes are usually used, is because it just takes away from every little individual garment you can be wearing. So think of it that way from now on. Anytime you see somebody wearing a robe and that just looks silly to you, it's something symbolic of that state of mind. Now, ritual can have a variety of effects and can be used for a variety of things. The difference between a spell and a ritual is that a spell is generally directed towards a lot of the times it's towards a minor need, or it's a specific need that you want to get manifested quickly and less elaborately. A ritual works the same way a spell can, and can have a lot of the same elements, but the primary difference in my perspective of what separates a ritual from a spell is that a ritual will always carry out some form of elaborate forcing of the subconscious to take control. It's something will take place that will just simply confuse the conscious mind. And so that's the symbolism, that's the ritual, that's the garments, that's everything that the conscious mind doesn't recognize right away. The chants, the symbols, the pentagram, things like that, your conscious mind may recognize what these symbols are, but your subconscious mind sees them in a different way. It will look deeper beyond that. Oh, well, someone will say, oh, well, that's a Baphomet head. Your subconscious mind will see the meaning of the Baphomet head rather than simply the symbol. It will go beyond the symbol and see the meaning. So think of it this way, and you will almost always be willing to do a ritual and not have to doubt yourself that something is happening within your subconscious or your conscious mind. If you continue to doubt, that means that your conscious mind is taking reign over your subconscious, and this can be from a variety of things. Examine yourself and see what may be holding you back from realizing your true potential. This is a key fundamental importance in magic. Do not doubt. Doubt is natural. If you do doubt, don't call yourself a bad magician. Doubt has happened and flown through every single magician's mind, every single witch's mind, if you want to use that word instead. Every single mind of someone who has excelled in the practice of magic has probably doubted themselves more times than you would imagine. Just like a good artist has probably failed more times than they will openly say unless you ask them. Or maybe they will just openly admit, no, I wasn't always this good. I've messed up so many countless times, but I kept going because it's what I like to do. I had to keep practicing because I wanted to see how far I could go. And I keep going today because I always have more to learn. When you think of it in this light, even if you doubt yourself, you will be willing to go forward and go farther with your doubt and go beyond it and be more patient with yourself so you can eliminate doubt entirely. And so, on ritual, it can have a lot of interesting effects. Ritual should always be considered vital in the practice of magic. You don't have to practice ritual right away. You can build yourself up to it. But at some point or another, do some sort of ritual that you can design it yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, do what works for you. Again. And on ritual, well, may all your rituals go well. And that's all for this video. More coming soon. Thank you.